Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's explainer. You know, we've all walked past those beautifully painted storefront windows during Halloween, right? But have you ever actually stopped and wondered about the person standing out there in the cold painting them? Well, today we are breaking down a seriously atmospheric piece of source material. We've got an amazing audio file for a piece called Hallowe'en Window Painting that we'll be discussing throughout this explainer. It's all about how a completely normal job, painting a mural on a Brooklyn store window on October 31st, turned into a literal supernatural encounter. We're going to map out this artist's intense battle with her very own creations.
Right off the bat, I want you to just think about this opening quote. Armed with a horsehair brush, I went to war with pumpkin kings. I won, barely. Seriously, you can just feel the suspense dripping off those words. It totally flips our normal, peaceful idea of making art right on its head. It perfectly sets up the premise of our chronological narrative today, and it teases this terrifying twist, right? The idea that sometimes your art can actually bite back. To really wrap our heads around how this happened, we gotta set the scene. So, it's late at night in Brooklyn. The store is completely locked up. The only thing you can see are these harsh, buzzing fluorescent lights spilling right out onto the street. Now, in the audio co-narration for this piece, the author, LindaAnn LoSchiavo, describes this incredibly quiet, isolating initial sketching phase. She talks about ghosts rising, her broad stroking the outdoor glass, illuminating her half-finished sketch. It is such an intensely atmospheric start to our timeline.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how fast things go off the rails. Look at this timeline with me. Late night, she's just doing broad strokes on the glass, right? Just doing her job. Moments later, despite being dead tired, her brush is flying, whipping up this bright orange harvest of plump yams and spaghetti squash. But then, literally seconds later, a painted scarecrow smirks. Its jack-o'-lantern head just lights up from the inside. Instantly, the artist freezes. She realizes she is definitely not alone. She's trapped out there, under this closed-mouth sky, staring at a bizarre farm with absolutely zero clue how to get out. Going from a tired artist just trying to finish up a gig to being totally boxed in by her own work, it's wild.
So this super quiet scene rapidly snowballs into a full-blown active nightmare. The pacing just ramps right up. What started as a static painting of smiles and hope morphs into a legitimate, terrifying threat. As the text lays out, we're talking sly skeletons, loud witches, and pumpkin kings approaching as aggressive country primitives. These harvest elements, they've literally stepped out of their two-dimensional boundaries. They're loud, they are highly aggressive, and they are closing in fast on the artist.
To really ground ourselves in this terror, just think about the harsh, super eerie candlelight glowing from inside these dark, twisting harvest figures. This is exactly what she was staring down. I mean, imagine being boxed in by this menacing glow on a pitch-black New York sidewalk. The very creatures you just painted are suddenly bellowing that harsh candlelight right back at you. Honestly, it's pure, suffocating horror.
So, the crucial point is, how in the world do you fight back against a gang of supernatural paintings? Well, you use exactly what you have. Listen to this line from the piece. My paintbrush weaponized itself against a gang of witches and skeletons. Ruthless efficiency, it turns out, is a real technique. She realizes in that split second that the exact same tool she used to give them life is the only thing that can take it away. She mounts this incredibly desperate counterattack.
Let's break down this surprisingly effective survival strategy, which we are playfully calling the exorcism technique. Step 1, weaponize that horsehair brush. Step 2, load it all the way up with thick, opaque white tempera paint. Step 3, obliterate the malefactors. In the audio file, the poet narrates this climax with so much frantic energy, describing how she collects enough white tempera to cover each one, wiping them out with ruthless efficiency. Basically, she aggressively paints right over them, erasing them from existence just to survive the night.
But you know what? The bizarre aftermath of this whole fight is honestly just as strange as the battle itself. Because the second she obliterates the threat with that white paint, she doesn't just, casually walk away down the sidewalk. Instead, the supernatural forces react. The source material describes these strong, stubborn winds that actually convey her to a secret corridor underneath the Brooklyn store. She is magically and forcefully transported straight away from the glass, sucked into this subterranean escape route right beneath the city streets.
All of which leaves us with a pretty terrifying, lingering question. If the artist got sucked underground right in the middle of the battle, who on earth finished the masterpiece? In the final moments of the audio file, LoSchiavo drops this absolute chill of a twist. She mentions the painting was completed in her absence, and then a painted scarecrow meets her eyes and winks. Yep,
The painting literally finished itself, and it is completely aware that she's there.
Okay, that right there, that is an expertly crafted spooky narrative. But let's take a breath, pull back the curtain, and actually meet the architect of the macabre who dreamed up this whole Brooklyn encounter. We're going to shift gears just a bit and take a literary profile look at the mastermind behind Hallowe'en Window Painting.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the actual structure she used to build this story. The entire piece is written in what's called blank verse. If you're not familiar, that basically means it's unrhymed poetry written in a regular meter. But just think about the scale of this for a second. Hallowe'en Window Painting packs a full-blown supernatural war, a magical escape, and a terrifying twist into exactly 26 lines. That's a total of just 164 words. To put that into perspective, it's an absolute masterclass in super tight, crazy efficient horror storytelling.
And honestly, that kind of mastery doesn't come out of nowhere. It's backed up by some seriously impressive accolades. LindaAnn LoSchiavo is a native New Yorker and an Elgin Award winner. She's also an active, recognized member of the British Fantasy Society, the Horror Writers Association, and the Science Fiction and Fantasy Poetry Association. She clearly doesn't just dabble in spooky stories for fun. She's a deeply entrenched, highly respected professional within this incredibly specialized genre.
You can totally see that dedication when you look at her prolific output. In 2024 alone, she published Apprentice to the Night and Always Haunted Hallowe'en Poems, which, by the way, is the exact collection this specific poem comes from. And looking ahead to 2025, she's already got Vampire Verses and Cancer Court's My Mother lined up on the calendar. So this whole Brooklyn window painting encounter is just one tiny, brilliant piece of a much, much larger dark portfolio.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. The next time you're walking past a brightly painted storefront on a chilly, dark October night, when you see all those smiling skeletons and plump yams on the glass, are you going to wonder what happens the second the artist turns their back? Thank you so much for exploring this awesome source material with me today. Keep asking those questions, keep noticing the little details, and I really hope this explainer gave you a totally new appreciation for the hidden horrors of Halloween art.